Hi Cancer, this is Tisch Aitken, and this is your monthly report for the month of July. We begin the month in your birthday season, so I want to wish you a very happy birthday. It's been very intense emotionally recently because we just finished eclipse season at the end of June, and you're ruled by the moon, so you're very in touch with lunations and eclipses and new moons. So the lunar energy for you is very strong, and these eclipses were very revealing because they were immutable signs. The lunar eclipse occurred on May 26th. It was a total lunar eclipse at 5 degrees and 25 minutes of Sagittarius that fell at your house of work and daily routine. And then the solar eclipse on June 10th occurred at 19 degrees and 47 minutes of the mutable air sign of Gemini in your 12th house of endings and the subconscious mind, as well as your imagination and dreams. Mercury has been transiting in that sector of your chart in Gemini since May 3rd. So imagine that you, since you're already so intuitive and psychic to begin with, are picking up on many different messages through your dreams, through numbers, and various ways that you receive confirmations. And in some cases, maybe people that have passed over could come back to you in some way with Mercury retrograde in Gemini, and it was only a degree away from that solar eclipse in Gemini, giving us a lot of information. Or for some people, things were brought to light where deception was uncovered and making people see things in a whole other way. But very emotional. Jupiter and Neptune are both transiting in the mutable water sign of Pisces, and that's very compatible with your own sign. But they interacted with both of these eclipses, bringing more of a confusing and an emotional tone to this eclipse information. And both Jupiter and Neptune stationed retrograde at the end of June in your house of manifesting and teaching and travel. And this is a time for you now to reassess how you can expand both the vision and the dream, because Jupiter is the vision and Neptune is the dream, and they're both transiting in your house of optimism and manifesting. So important themes to work on, because we're all reinventing ourselves in this new age of Aquarius and finding tools to keep yourself aligned with everything. So on July 1st, the sun is transiting in your sign. It's your birthday season, and it's transiting in your first house of self and new beginnings. That's good for initiating new projects. It's good for socializing. It's good for business in all ways. It's good for getting things going. And both Venus and Mars are transiting in the fixed fire sign of Leo in your house of income, how you earn money, how you're creative, and what you find of value, what your possessions are. And this is a good way, when Mars is transiting there, it's a great time to make money and to find new financial prospects. So that's happening as we begin the month. And on July 1st, Mars opposes Saturn at 9:08 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And Saturn is transiting in your house of intimacy and joint financial resources. So that could be a bit challenging around financial partnerships, but also in the United States, we're building up to a holiday weekend, and that could bring delays. That could be a bit frustrating. So just know that that energy is at play as we get towards the weekend. On July 2nd, Mars forms a helpful trine to Chiron, which is the wounded healer. And Chiron is transiting in Aries at the top of your chart in your house of life goals and public image. And that's a good opportunity to find the courage to open your heart to face the vulnerability as you establish yourself and reinvent your image and your life goals. On July 3rd, we're getting more into the holiday weekend, and there is a lot at play. The moon enters the fixed earth sign of Taurus at 8:28 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And the moon loves being in Taurus. It is ruled by Venus and it's exalted there. And the moon is going to make a lot of aspects throughout the weekend. It's very busy. To begin with, on the 3rd, it's going to form a helpful sextile, which is an aspect of opportunity, to Jupiter, the grand benefic. And this occurs at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The moon will be in your house of friends and groups, so good for dealing with all sorts of socializing and such. And there's a very magical aspect that occurs on July 3rd. And whether or not we have ups and downs, which inevitably I think most of us will throughout the weekend, that is an aspect of magic and fairy tales. A quintile is a 72-degree aspect, and it's a fifth of a circle. And when two planets form a quintile, it's like fairy tales and magical dreams, but it creates a flow of energy between those two planets. And when Jupiter and Uranus are in sync, it can bring unexpected travel, meeting people unexpectedly, great last-minute adventures. And for you, Jupiter is transiting in your house of travel and manifesting. So that's a really nice energy. And Uranus is transiting in your house of socializing and friends and groups. So that's a magical energy that we all want to focus on throughout the weekend. On the 3rd of July, Mars squares Uranus at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And, you want to be careful on the road. People will be a bit fired up. We're all starting to get back out there again, in bigger proportions. And it's a heated weekend. There's a lot at play. So just be mindful of that, and also that people might be a little bit irritable also. But there's still that magic, Jupiter, quintile, Uranus. And then late on at 10:44 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on July 3rd, or early at 1:44 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on July 4th, the moon squares Venus, which is that can be a bit at odds, but nothing major. Later in the morning, the moon squares Saturn, and that's more restrictive and challenging. And then the moon forms a helpful sextile to the sun in your sign, and that's positive. And then let's see, we have the moon meeting up with Uranus at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that's falling in your house of friends and groups. Hopefully that brings good surprises. Maybe somebody you didn't know is going to be at an event will be there, but there could be changes in plans, or just having to be a bit adaptable with that energy. So just knowing that that's occurring. And let's see, at 1:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the moon squares Mars, and that adds a little more of that volatility and just more of that Mars energy where people might be a little bit irascible. And on the day of the 4th, the sun squares Chiron, the wounded healer, at 11:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I think it makes sense, given that a lot of people are getting together in ways that they haven't for a long time, and there will be many people absent this year, and just honoring the people that are not with us, and that this is a painful time in history, and trying to make the most of this time together, And then on July 5th, we have the sun in your sign forms a beautiful sextile to Uranus and Taurus, and that could bring unexpected social opportunities, great for brainstorming at work and very innovative projects. On the 6th of July, that's a day that's better to lay low. At 3:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mercury squares Neptune, and that can bring confusion and misunderstandings. It's excellent for doing manifesting work and for spiritual practice, but later that day at 10:36 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Venus opposes Saturn. And for you, that could bring financial obstacles. It can also bring breakups, but it could just be an aspect of conflict. Again, try to work on your own if you're able. On the 8th of July, Venus, which is transiting in the sign of Leo, squares Uranus at 3:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and that could bring unexpected social opportunities and financial opportunities. With Uranus, again, expect the unexpected, but I think that has more of a creative and fun energy to it. And on the following day, on July 9th, it's a big deal for you because you have your annual new moon that takes place at 9:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 13 degrees and 2 minutes of the cardinal water sign of Cancer. This is your annual new moon. The moon rules your sign, and this new moon is in your house of new beginnings. So really take this time to do the law of abundance, to write down your intentions, and this can be comprehensive of any area of your life that you want to manifest, because the first house is new beginnings. And also this new moon sets off where the lunar eclipse was on July 5th of last year. It was at 13 degrees of the opposite sign of Capricorn, and that eclipse was a full moon eclipse in your house of partnerships. So maybe this is bringing resolution to what you were working on last summer. Maybe you're getting completion, or maybe it's helping you to move on and to create new beginnings, which is the intent of this new moon. And then on July 11th, Mercury, the cosmic messenger, finally leaves the sign of Gemini, where it's been for a long time, and it enters your sign at 4:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it will be there until July 7th. It's going to be a busy time for you, a lot of socializing and working and being active. So this is good. Mercury loves being in Gemini, but it was there for a while. It was out of bounds in May. It was retrograde at the end of May through most of June. So we've had Mercury in Gemini, and now the focus is you to focus on your business and on what you want to organize and what you want to learn and achieve. And then on July 12th, Mercury in your sign forms a beautiful trine to Jupiter. And Jupiter is in its dignity in Pisces, in your house of manifesting and promotion. Really nice energy for whatever you want to do, an aspect of feeling good. On July 13th, that's a day to definitely circle in your calendar. There's a very sexy combination. Both Venus and Mars meet up at 19 degrees of the fixed fire sign of Leo at 9:33 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And for you, this falls in your house of income and creativity and what you find of value. And that's a very sexy energy for all of us. It's great for going on a date. It's great for meeting people. But also for you, it's excellent for bringing financial opportunities, because that's the sector of your chart where it's occurring. On July 15th, the sun in your sign forms a beautiful trine to Neptune, and that is a very manifesting energy, good for tapping into the dream. And then that occurs early at 4:49 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then later at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Chiron, the wounded healer, stations retrograde at 12 degrees of the cardinal fire sign of Aries. And this occurs in your house of career and public image. And for all of us, it's a time to reassess how we deal with our vulnerability of self. When Chiron is in Aries, it's very much a vulnerability around ego and identity. And for you, it might be in your career or how you appear to the public. A lot of us are reinventing our careers, so it's not surprising. And then on July 17th, the sun opposes Pluto at 6:36 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that can be contentious energy. It can bring breakups. It can bring power plays. It can also bring transformation. If maybe there have been issues in a relationship and you guys are approaching it in a healthy way, maybe you're eliminating some toxicity that's much needed. But just know that there is a volatility to that, and people could be very domineering or get very heated up. So maybe lay low with that. On July 21st, Venus enters the, Venus enters the mutable Earth sign of Virgo at 8:37 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it'll be there until August 15th, and it's transiting in your house of communication and local community and networking and sales. If you have your own business, it's an excellent time for marketing yourself and getting involved in the local community. Maybe you're doing more with promoting yourself on social media in some way. Maybe you're teaching workshops or classes. If you're single, excellent time for meeting people and getting out there and just getting involved in your community. And then on July 22nd, the sun enters the fixed fire sign of Leo, where it will be until August 22nd. And it'll be lighting up your house of income and money, bringing more financial opportunities in that process. On July 23rd, there is a full moon that takes place at 10:37 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 1 degree and 26 minutes of the fixed air sign of Aquarius. And this full moon sets off exactly where Saturn from March 23rd until July 1st of last year in your house of death and rebirth and transformation, as well as debt and taxes and joint resources. And hopefully it brings some closure to what you've been dealing with since Saturn first entered Aquarius briefly last year. And you've been working hard to get things going. Hopefully it brings some positive results. On July 25th, Mercury in your sign forms an opposition to Pluto. And this occurs at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that can be power plays and struggles. Definitely can be combative energy and communication. Excellent for doing research and uncovering information. But again, people could be a little fiery in their approach to communication. On July 27th, Mercury enters the fixed fire sign of Leo, where it will be until August 11th. More focus on your income and money and getting, business going in that way. And then on July 28th, Jupiter, the grand benefic, re-enters the fixed air sign of Aquarius at 8:34 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And it re-enters your house of joint resources, debt, and taxes, as well as wounds and healing and transformation. And that is very helpful. It'll be there through the end of the year. And this helps you. Saturn's going to be in the sector of your chart, of your chart until March 7th of 2023. So that's making you really have to get it together. It's like the judgment card in Tarot, not always easy. Jupiter expands your opportunities, your options. It could bring you some gifts in the process. And in Aquarius, it can be very innovative and also involve networking in the process. So that is very helpful. And also for doing healing work as well. And then on July 29th, Mars squares Jupiter at 11:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then it enters the mutable Earth sign of Virgo at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where it will be until September 14th. And Mars will be transiting in your house of networking and sales and local communities. So a lot of networking, a lot of focus on your finances, and also your birthday season. So I wish you a lot of luck, Cancer. Thank you very much.